Enid, Oklahoma, from wheat fields to the economic hub of northwest Oklahoma. The social, medical, and educational center for the region. Enid is a safe and economic place to live, work, and raise a family. A city with an entrepreneurial spirit. Enid is a community overflowing with boundless opportunities, building an original heritage and pulsating with a vibrant quality of life. Now join Steve Keim as he brings another exciting edition of City Connections.
Kenneth T. Russell. That was Kenny Russell. He was from Perry, Oklahoma. He was in high school when I was in junior high, and he was one of three young men that was killed in action in Vietnam from Perry, Oklahoma. Welcome to City Connections. This is our Veterans Day edition of City Connections. We want to focus on the Vietnam Wall Memorial. We want to focus on Veterans Day. And we also want to focus on the City of Enid employees that have served our country. Thank you for joining us for our Veterans Day edition. I truly believe you'll enjoy this program as we honor the men and women who serve our great country. Thank you for staying with us on City Connections. Welcome to our Veterans Day edition of City Connections. My special guest is the director of the Woodring Regional Airport, Dan Ohnesorge. Dan, good to see you again.
Steve, good seeing you.
And many of us call him, if we're in a hurry, we just call him Ono, excuse me. So Ono, thanks for joining us on our special edition. You served in the Air Force for 28.5 years. Tell us a little bit about your service.
Well, I came in through the ROTC program at Florida State University and entered active duty in July of '75. I went to pilot training at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas and was fortunate to end up flying my last tour here at Vance Air Force Base, flying the T-37. That was a blast, 3 years. It was a good way to end my career, and I really enjoyed it.
When it comes to Veterans Day, which is a few days away, Ono, what does it mean to you?
Well, I think it's a day when we pause and we remember the veterans who served both in the past and present. Our country is free because of the sacrifices that these veterans made, and I think it's just appropriate that we recognize that on Veterans Day. So I think it's important that on Veterans Day that we go to some sort of a ceremony to help us remember that.
What can you tell us about this, the replica?
Well, this is an 80% replica. It was a traveling wall that was built by an individual by the name of Don Allen. His corporation built it and took this all over the country.
So if you would, on Veterans Day, what will people expect to see on that dedication ceremony?
Well, we will begin the ceremony at 11. That's the traditional time to begin a Veterans Day ceremony. There will be colors, there will be a 21-gun salute, there will be taps, there will be several speakers. At the end of the ceremony, what people really want to do is they want to walk up and look at the wall. They want to look at specific names. They want to try to capture the whole thing. The names on these, the average age of the people whose names are on here is 22. These people never had an opportunity to grow up like we did. And this is a very unique memorial in the fact that these are names of people. These are the actual names of the folks who never made it home. And I think that makes it very unique. And at the end of the ceremony, the people will have an opportunity to come up and spend as much time as they want with the wall. The park will be open every day from 6 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. Every day of the year. And so when people want to come back, they can certainly do that.
Oh no, again, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for your work behind the scenes to make this, along with so many people that gave time, talents, resources, dollar bills, and all of that. And we thank them for making that all possible. Well, Ono served 28.5 years in the Air Force, and there's a few other City of Enid employees that have done the same thing. Let's take a few moments and meet some of those individuals that served in the Air Force. Welcome back to City Connections. Thank you for staying with us. As you know, this is our Veterans Day, our Veterans Day edition of City Connections. And my next special guest, many of you know Eric Benson as our city manager. But besides being a city manager, he's had a 30-year career in the Navy. I'd like to share a few things that Eric has accomplished in his spare time in the military. I do know that he had over 1,000 carrier landings. Again, with that 30-year Navy service, he flew F-14s. He has one of the 5 highest flight Tomcat aviators in the country. He's had over 44 combat missions in Desert Storm, 4 air medals with Combat Distinguishing Device, and he has 2 Legion of Merit Awards and 1 Defense Superior Service Medal. And then the final credential he has, he said that he's the defender of the underdog. And I really like that one the most, Eric. So thank you for your service to our country, and thanks for being on our Veterans edition of City Connection.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Here we are in the Library Plaza, and we have the Doughboy statue behind us, Eric. Right off the bat, Veterans Day, November 11, what does it mean to you?
Well, that's really pretty easy. What it means to me is it reminds me of the privilege I had of serving with the distillant elite of the American citizens, those who swore an oath and donned the cloth of their country. It was a privilege for me to share their company.
The latest count that we had with the City of Enid employees, Eric, is approximately 60 employees on your team, our team, have served our country or currently are serving. As city manager, how does that make you feel, knowing that many veterans are on your team?
Well, it's really empowering because I know that I have, of the 500 plus employees that work for the city in a variety of capacities, we have 60 that with a proven work ethic, a dedication, a skill set, and a professionalism that's second to none. I know they set the tone for others to emulate. I know that they subscribe to the highest values, and they're completely reliable in all respects. It's a real privilege being on their team.
I think as an individual who's judging character or work ethic, that you kind of have that open window or that insight into that veteran, knowing through their training, their discipline, and what they've gone through in their service, you kind of have a good idea what this person's all about.
I will admit a bias in favor of veterans. And any that come to the city looking for employment, they're going to have a natural favoritism. I don't deny that. In fact, I advertise it. Veterans carry a weight with me that outweighs your typical applicant.
Well, you're bold with that comment about bias, but I don't think anyone would really consider that a bias, because I know organizations, large companies across the state of Oklahoma are actively seeking veterans to be part of their team. And so they figured it out that these are one group of individuals that we want on our team.
And it's the same way here. You know, they're a great addition. As I said, they're a proven commodity. They come with a skill set, a mindset, and a dedication to the task that is very, very hard to train or even subscribe to in this day and age. It comes with the territory of being a veteran.
Sure. As I said at the outset, Eric has 30 years of Navy service. So let's take a moment to meet some other City of Enid employees that have served in the Navy and also the Marines. Now that you've met some of the City of Enid employees that have served in the Navy and also the Marines, Eric, I have another question. On November 11, of course, Veterans Day, a lot of attention will be on Enid, Oklahoma. We have an 80% replica of the Vietnam War wall memorial at Woodring Regional Airport. How does this fit in for Enid to be that destination location, if you will?
Well, it's more serendipitous than anything else, but it is clearly a tremendous honor for the community of Enid to be the ultimate home of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Its replica. It's an inspiring, empowering symbol of all that's best about America, and it honors the men and women who served in that era and the 59,000 plus who made the ultimate sacrifice. It's more privilege than anything else.
Well, I've been out there and looked at it. It's very moving. It's landscaped nice. It is going to be a tremendous addition to our great community. So some final thoughts. As a veteran nearing Veterans Day, Eric, what are your final thoughts?
Well, you know, you chose this site for this taping, and it's quite appropriate, at least to me, because every time I drive to work, and I drive up Grand from my home in north side of Enid, is I look at this Doughboy statue every day, and I get reinstalled in me a sense of service above self, and it reminds me of commitment to community and all the things that make America and Enid so great.
Those are great closing comments, because it just summarized what our whole attempt on City Connections to do is really highlight our community and what it's all about, and gives us the opportunity to highlight veterans such as yourself.
Well, let me tell you, Steve, that you're making a giant difference in the awareness of this community in itself, and I get compliments all over town about it. My hat's off to you.
Yeah, thank you. One more time, thanks for your service and your 30 years in the Navy.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us on this portion of City Connection. We'll have more interviews right after this. Welcome back to City Connections, the Veterans Day edition of City Connections. My next guest is known as the CFO, our Chief Financial Officer for the City of Enid. I know him as my next door neighbor at the office as Jerald, but a lot of people call you Colonel. So Colonel, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your service, Steve. First off. I appreciate your service to our country, and thank you for what you do at the City of Enid. Right off the bat, Jerald, I understand that you're stationed out of Fort Sill. You have been deployed to Iraq. You are a colonel. You have a distinguished military career, and then you weave in being a family person and also the Chief Financial Officer for the City of Enid. Why don't you just kind of share with us a little bit about your military background?
Sure, Steve. I got in the military about 28 years ago, and I got in to help pay for college, and like a lot of people do. I serve in the Oklahoma Army National Guard, so I'm a citizen soldier. Very proud to be a citizen soldier and serve in the field artillery at Fort Sill, as you mentioned. Been doing it for quite a while and enjoy it, and am able to balance all those various things.
You mentioned, and I mentioned as well, the deployment, and one of the key reasons, Colonel, why I wanted you on the show today is the fact that you've had the unique experience of being the family man and the employed individual, but at the same time deployed to Iraq and then to come back. Tell us a little bit about that adjustment of knowing, okay, I'm being deployed, and then a little bit more about the adjustment when you came back to the City of Enid.
Well, we had certainly quite a bit of advance notice that we were going to deploy, so about a year's notice. So I was able to prepare at work and prepare at home. But nothing can really prepare you for being away for a year. It's a long time to be away from your wife and your family and your job. But it was easy to do from the perspective of me just focusing on my role and my job, my commitment in the military. And I knew my wife is very resourceful. Although I'm sure she missed me, she did very well and handled everything at home. And the city goes on whether I'm there or not, Steve. So that's one of the lessons learned. Joan Riley actually filled in for me very ably as the interim financial director while I was gone.
Well, tell us a little bit. So you've spent the year in Iraq, and now you're coming back. Tell us about that adjustment.
Well, I think after a year, it wasn't too hard of an adjustment. It was actually just quite a relief to be back home. The adjustment came in when I got back. I didn't really want to go back to work right away. I wanted to have some time, and
Sure.
and the city manager was very good to allow me about a month and a half before I came back to work. And then it took some time to get back in the swing of things, but pretty much picked up with where we were when I got back.
As Jerald mentioned, he serves in the Army National Guard. We have City of Enid employees that have served as Army Reserve and also just in the Army. And then let's take this opportunity right now to meet many of the City of Enid employees that have served in the Army. Our special guest on this segment of the City Connection, the Veterans Day version, if you will, is Colonel Jerald Gilbert. Jerald, again, thank you for your service to the country. Let me just ask you one final question. November 11, Veterans Day, what does it mean to you?
Steve, what it means to me is it's a day that we can reflect and think about all of those who have served our country as veterans. I'm proud to be a member of that group of millions and millions of distinguished men and women who have served over the years, and very, very happy to serve the City of Enid with all the veterans we have here.
We have over 60 employees, 60 plus employees of the 550 that we have on staff that have served in the military. What does that mean to you, knowing that you're part of a team that 60 plus employees have served like you?
Well, it's kind of a bond, Steve, that you develop when you serve in the military. Even though I didn't serve directly with most of the folks that work here, we've shared common experiences, so that and common bonds, and gone through common training events and such, and been deployed, and so it's something we share in common, and it's just kind of enjoyable to work with folks with that background.
Sure. Well, again, Jerald, thank you for your service. Appreciate it very much. And I guess, do I say Happy Veterans Day? I'm not sure what the term is, but anyway, I wish you the best on Veterans Day, and thank you what you have done in your service to be deployed and to come back for our country. Thank you very much. And thank you for staying with us on City Connections, and we'll have more right after this. I sincerely hope you enjoyed our Veterans edition of City Connections. It's been a privilege for me to participate in this program this week. I certainly want to say thank you to several people, and when you start mentioning names, you undoubtedly overlook a few individuals, but I do want to say thanks to Dan Ohnesorge, our Airport Director, for the invitation to come out to the Wall Memorial, and also to Ono's effort behind the scenes, along with many other individuals in Enid that have worked tirelessly to make the Wall Memorial a reality. And special thanks to my guest, Eric Benson, our City Manager, and to our Chief Financial Officer, Jerald Gilbert, for their service to the country and also to be my guests on City Connection. Thank you for joining us. My name is Steve Kime. I have the privilege of serving as the Public Relations Director and also Director of Marketing for the City of Enid. And I want to say a special thanks to all the men and women that have served our country that are currently serving. Happy Veterans Day.
Oh, beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, I love you, America. You see,